Okay, so we will go ahead and begin. So welcome everybody. Thank you for spending your evening with me for the next hour or so. If I can get you out of here sooner, I certainly will. Just so you know, we are going to be recording this info session with the intent to eventually post it on our website, so it'll be accessible there. And on our screen, we have some beautiful views of our campus, and in our lower left-hand corner there, we have our School of Nursing building. Okay. Alrighty. So Dr. Dingley did plan and intend to join me today, but unfortunately she was unable to. But she did want to make sure that she had a chance to interact with you in some way. So some of the slides you'll hear from her as pre-recorded, and some slides you'll hear from me. The next slide, or the next few slides rather, we're going to start with Dr. Dingley's presentation. Do me all a favor, and if you can hear it, just let me know and just send a yes, or you can hear it in the chat. That way we know that we're good to go. All righty.
Just a little history about the UNLV School of Nursing PhD program. UNLV is the first and only PhD program in Nevada. It was started in 2005 when the first cohort of PhD students were admitted. And since that time, 64 doctoral degrees have been conferred. We have students from all across the United States. Our current enrollment for the fall of 2020 are 34 students, and we offer two main options, which are completely online: PhD in nursing with a focus on nursing education, and PhD in nursing for the post-DNP graduate who would like to expand their research area and do that through obtaining a PhD. The motto for the School of Nursing is Nurse Leaders Begin Here, and we truly try to live that in every one of our programs.
Great, thank you. And I do see that you guys were able to hear that, so I'm really glad.
The goal statement for the PhD in nursing is this: that our goal is to prepare PhD scholars to advance nursing science and practice through rigorous research, evidence-based education, and dynamic leadership. And this aligns with the AACN, the American Association of Colleges of Nursing, statement for research-focused doctorate. And I do want you to pay very close attention to this, that the PhD represents the highest level of formal education for a career in nursing and the scholarship of discovery. It prepares scholars for the expression and communication of the knowledge base in the profession. The PhD graduate develops the science, stewards the profession, and educates the next generation. This is important in that all of our coursework is geared toward meeting this particular statement, as are our outcomes. And the PhD in any discipline, no matter what that discipline is primarily a research-focused degree. So whether your focus is in a clinical area or in an educational area, the goal is to develop a career in research and the scholarship of discovery. So that is how the coursework will prepare those particular graduates. And as you can see here, the next statement shows that the PhD program prepares nurse scientists for roles as leaders, scholar researchers, and educators in diverse settings, including academia, healthcare industry, and healthcare-focused public and private organizations. And we have graduates in all of those areas. We have three main outcomes for the PhD program. First is to provide leadership for the advancement of nursing as a scientific and practice discipline through the conduct of culturally competent scholarship and identification of implications for policy, discipline, and the profession. The second main outcome is to be able to conduct original research that generates new knowledge. And the third outcome is to develop, implement, and evaluate innovative approaches to teaching and learning. And as I mentioned, our School of Nursing PhD program aligns with the AACN Task Force on Research-Focused Doctoral Education in Nursing. And I would encourage you to go to the link, and I've put the link right there, and take a look at the position paper that is found there on the AACN website.
And so you heard Dr. Dingley talk about how we have two tracks. We have the PhD in nursing education, and then we have the post-DNP to PhD track. So I know you're looking at the screen right now and you're saying, but you see 3 different credit options. So we'll go over that in just a moment. Our program is completely online as far as the didactic coursework. You do have a few trips to campus, so you see those listed below. One of them is prior to you starting the semester once you're admitted, which is our mandatory graduate School of Nursing orientation. It typically takes place in August. It's a 2-day event, Wednesday and Thursday. So if I'm correct, it would be August 4 and 5 of 2021. And this is an all-day event for both days. So if you're admitted, you're planned to be with us all day for those 2 days. This graduate orientation is separate from the grad college's orientation, but once you are admitted, we give you information as we near the event, and you'll have plenty of information and time to plan your visit to the campus. Your other 3 visits to the campus happen during the program: your oral comprehensive exam, your dissertation proposal, and your dissertation defense. Dr. Dingley, unfortunately, wasn't able to join us, so if you do have any in-depth questions about the process or anything related, if you want to talk to her about any potential topics that you're interested in, we'll have some contact information available towards the end, and you can definitely reach out to her. So we have the 60 credit plan. That's for individuals whose master's degree is not in nursing education. So we build those credits into that plan for you. And if you do have a master's in nursing education, then we have the 50 credit plan. So we kind of call that our accelerated track. And then the 45 credit plan is our post-DNP to PhD. All 3 tracks do offer part-time and full-time plans of study, and I have some samples for you as we progress onward. If anybody is coming from out of state, you'll be happy to know that we're only minutes from McCarran International Airport. You just get on the road, exit the airport, go straight on Maryland Parkway, and before you know it, you start seeing different campus buildings. And so we're located right there, and we're only moments further from the Strip. So we have the PhD in nursing education. So this is the 62 credit plan or the 50 credit plan, depending on what your MSN is in. And its purpose is to cultivate nurse scholars to advance the scientific discipline of nursing education through research, innovation in the classroom, as well as prepare dynamic leaders to transform nursing education. And then we have our post-DNP to PhD track. So I'll let you take a moment to read through that statement. But what I like to think of is the PhD is for individuals who want to initiate that scientific research. And the DNP is to delve into that already existing research and to put it into practice. So that's where you get that practitioner researcher kind of coming a full 360 of not only initiating it, but also then testing it out and putting it into practice. Okay, so we do have some of the program requirements, and we're looking upon the qualifications of the applicant, the availability of positions, and we're looking for a fit with faculty research and expertise. And once you're admitted into the program, we do already assign an advisor to you. And what Dr. Dingley does try to do is try to match you with an advisor based off of what your research interests are. Sometimes it's not an exact perfect fit in that it doesn't align exactly with what you're interested in, but she does make her best educated decision to find somebody who will match with you. And that individual can very well become your chair if you choose to have that advisor become your chairperson, or that advisor can help you find a chairperson. Maybe you're looking at our faculty page and you're reading their bios, and you're looking at the different research areas that they focus in, and that is something of interest to you. And so you can work with your advisor to make those connections. And then once you have your chairperson, they'll help you form the rest of your committee. Our applications are currently open through March 1st, and we admit once a year in the fall. So this is for fall 2021 entry. March 1st is our hard deadline. That's the time you have to have your application submitted. and the $60 non-refundable application fee paid in order to be considered. And you will have until March 7th to submit any additional materials that are due to us. Of course, pending that you have submitted the application by the deadline. But you're here today, and we're going to take questions later. And again, you'll have our contact information. So I definitely suggest, if you don't have to, don't wait until March 1st. That way you can get it. It'd be one less thing you have to worry about. Okay, and so some of the admission requirements. We do require a BSN for all of our graduate programs. The BSN has to come from a regionally accredited as well as a program accredited institution. So when we're talking program accreditation, we're looking for NLNAC or CCNE. And the same goes for the master's degree. And we'll talk about foreign education in just a moment. Now, if you hold a BSN, but you have a master's degree in another health-related field, so maybe you have a master's in public health or a master's in health administration, we'll still consider your application for the PhD track. Just be aware that there is a possibility that you may need to have additional courses built into your plan of study. You'll see those listed below, Nurse 706, 711, and 713. That totals to about 9 credits. It's not necessarily that you would have to take all 9 credits. What Dr. Dingley will do is when admissions decisions have been made, is we'll review any of those individuals who do have a master's degree that is not an MSN, and we'll determine if all or some of those courses are going to be needed. And when we make your official admissions offer through Grad Rebel Gateway, it will be in your offer letter as a contingency of what credits, if any, that you'll need to take in addition to the plan of study that you've signed up for.
This is a list of courses that really make up the doctoral core courses that are degree requirements. And I'm not going to go over each one of them, but you can certainly see they focus on areas like knowledge development, theory development. You can see that there's a quantitative and qualitative research. There's 2 statistical methods course in research. There's how to write a research grant application. So you see the core courses have a very strong foundation in the area of knowledge development, theory, and research, and different types of research as well. Included also is an interdisciplinary team science course. That is a primary focus that AACN strongly encourages. And then we have time for independent study and, of course, focusing on the dissertation research. There are additional courses that are specific for the nursing education scholar researcher track, and you can see those here. They focus on things like an independent practicum, evaluation strategies, and also educational theory.
So just as Dr. Dingley suggested, we do have some samples of the 62 credit plan of study. So you can see that you can complete the 62 credit plan of study in 8 semesters at full-time study. And you're looking at it starting in fall 21 and then needing at least 12 credits in dissertation. You would finish in spring of 2024. So it's typically about early to mid-May graduation. And then on the part-time side, we have 11 semesters with an anticipated graduation of spring 2025. So about a year later from the full-time study. And you'll see that we do operate on trimesters. They're 15 weeks of each semester with 2 weeks break in between. So that's your time to kind of recuperate from the prior semester, prepare for the next semester, sneak in a little vacation if you can. And you'll notice that the markings in red are your pre-dissertation meetings. So you have 3 meetings with your chairperson and your committee, and then you have your comprehensive examination. So again, if you do have any questions about anything related to the dissertation, you're welcome to reach out to Dr. Dingley and we'll provide that information for you in just a few slides. And then we have our 50 credit plan of study that can be completed in 7 semesters at full-time study or at 9 semesters at part-time study. And you see those anticipated graduation dates for full-time would be fall of 2023. And at part-time, it would be summer of 2023. Okay. And then we have our post-DNP to PhD. Again, just like the BSN and MSN, if you're coming in with a DNP, it also needs to be both from a regionally accredited institution as well as a program accredited institution. You'll see this next item, successful completion of graduate coursework in statistics and research. That's actually required regardless of whichever track you choose. You do have to show that you have graduate level statistics and research course that are from within the last 5 years. So if yours is beyond that 5-year mark, you're likely going to have to renew that. For the statistics option, we do recommend within UNLV to take EPY 721. That's through the College of Education. We do accept that course. You can also take a city. There's a 3-part certification city certification program that you can take. That is a program where you kind of just go at your own pace. You could literally complete it in a week or a day if you wanted to. You are working independently, so if you feel comfortable enough to do so, that's a great option. And it tends to be a little more cost effective if that's what you're looking for. But if you're somebody who likes to have interaction with classmates or with the instructor or have somebody to be able to ask questions to, then you may want to consider registering for an actual course, whether with UNLV or outside of UNLV. If you are considering taking a stats course outside of UNLV, I would recommend obtaining a copy of the syllabus and sharing it with Dr. Dingley just to make sure that it does kind of hit all the marks that they're looking for the PhD program. And again, making sure that it's taken at a regionally accredited institution. For the research side, we are currently recommending to do the city training for certification for the research requirement. We haven't yet identified a specific research within UNLV, course rather within UNLV to take. But if you do see a course that you want to take, whether within UNLV or outside, again, just send us a copy of the syllabus and we'll let you know. That way you're not paying for a course that doesn't meet our requirements. And you'll see the note here that students in the DNP to PhD program, they're at the accelerated 45 credit route.
And here is the coursework for the post-DNP to PhD degree requirements. And you can see there are a lot of similarities: knowledge development, theory focus, significant research focus in both quantitative and qualitative designs, and statistical methods, 2 courses in statistical methods and the grant writing course. In addition, some individualized study, independent study, and the dissertation. This,
sorry about that. Okay. And for the DNP to PhD, we can complete this program full-time within 6 semesters, anticipated graduation of summer 2023, and at part-time in 9 semesters with a graduation of summer of 2024. And you'll notice in this plan of study that you see on the screen, and even the few plans of study that I showed you prior to this, if an additional semester is needed to work on your dissertation, you do have that option available. So that's why you do see an additional 3 credits for each plan of study. And that's kind of why I'm pointing out when your anticipated graduation is, because at minimum, it would be the 6 credits or the 12 credits rather for your dissertation, but 3 additional if you should need them. Okay. And then, so the process of applying, it's kind of a dual process, but it's essentially no extra work to you. You're going to visit the grad college website and click on the Grad Rebel Gateway application, and you either have an account already and you can log in, or you're going to create an account. And as you're selecting programs, so you're interested in the nursing PhD program, you're selecting the track, the 62, 50, or 45 credit. By making those selections, you're also starting the application to the School of Nursing. And you'll see that there are going to be minimum requirements that the grad college needs. And they kind of do like the first screening of your application to make sure kind of meets their requirements. So what I usually like to allude to is that the grad college is kind of like the parent and the School of Nursing is kind of like the child. And so the grad college is going to have minimum requirements. So they're going to look for a minimum GPA. And if you meet our GPA requirement, which is a 3.5 for the PhD program, then you definitely meet their requirement. They're also looking to make sure that you have all transcripts added to your application. So if you're listing 3 institutions across your undergraduate and graduate education, you should have 3 transcripts submitted. We do encourage you to submit unofficial transcripts so that they're just already there in your application. You don't have to worry about purchasing your official transcripts until you're offered admissions. But if you don't have access to your unofficial transcripts, then you will need to send the grad college official transcripts. Also, if you list 3 institutions and you provide 3 transcripts and the grad college starts to go through them and they notice that you have transfer credits from a 4th institution, because that 4th institution wasn't originally included in your application and you didn't provide a transcript, that would also be another reason for them to consider your application incomplete. And if it's incomplete for them, we technically can't move on and review it. So just make sure that you're submitting those pieces. And then for foreign credential evaluation, so if you have any education outside of the United States at any level, if it was your BSN, MSN, any of those who are here for the DMP, those do need to go through an evaluation process. We currently accept foreign credential evaluations, course-by-course evaluations from any member of NACES. So that's N as in Nancy, ACES as in Sam.org. And they have about 12 to 15 different agencies. We most commonly see WES, World Education Services, used, but as long as it's a member listed on their website, the grad college will accept that agency. If you submit something that's not listed on the website, they will reject it. So just be aware of that. Okay. And so that kind of leads us to, we will only be able to review completed applications that have been submitted online. So with the exception of needing to send in official transcripts, if you're sending them from your home institution to us via mail, everything else should be submitted into the application. We also need to have a completed application be able to review your files. So if you're missing a letter of recommendation, that means you have an incomplete file. If you didn't do the interview, the recorded interview, that means that you don't have a completed file. And so here's kind of a more comprehensive list of what you need to have that complete file or complete application. So we already talked about unofficial transcripts. We do need a current resume. And just like you would submit the resume to a job, we want to see the most current and up-to-date resume. We want to see how long you've been working as a nurse. If you're currently a faculty member, we want to see all of that work history. If you have any publications, if you're part of any organizations, we want to see all of that. So just make sure that you're giving us the most up-to-date version. And then for the personal statement, it can be a max of 3 pages. Oh, here we go. A max of 3 pages, and should talk about what your research interests are, why UNLV, and what your trajectory is. And we're looking for a B or better in that grad level statistics or research. I'm not sure that I mentioned that when we first talked about it, but making sure that you obtain a B or better in those. We are looking for 2 scholarly writing samples. We're looking for official GRE score reports within the last 5 years. The good news for anybody interested in the DNP to PhD, because you already have a terminal degree, we do not require those individuals to provide GRE scores. But if you're applying to the 62 or the 50 credit track, we do need to have those scores from within the last 5 years. A copy of your unrestricted RN license, and if you have any other licensure or certifications, you can go ahead and add those as well. And then contact information for your recommenders. You want to have the correct spelling of their first and last name, and definitely the correct spelling of their email address, because when you're putting in their email address, that's going to auto-generate an email to that recommender with further instructions on how to go ahead and submit their letter of recommendation for you. So at this point, you've made it this far in your education, so you're likely no stranger to this process. And so you want to make sure that you're getting recommenders that you trust, that can speak to your character and your ability to be in a graduate level research program. If they are able to talk about, if you're currently a faculty member, able to talk about that, that's something that would make a really strong letter of recommendation. We do want to stay away from letters of recommendations from your neighbor down the block, from your partner, from your high school teacher. We really want to hear from people who can speak to your ability to be in this graduate program, your ability to contribute to research. And we'll go on to the next slide.
Students often ask about this personal statement, and it really needs to address your research interests and delineate possible research problem. And we understand that there are some students that are very, very focused and have a very strong inclination toward a particular research area. And there are students who are still certainly developing that, and that's okay. But you do need to be able to describe an area and try to look at the research expertise and interests of our current UNLV School of Nursing faculty. So that's another good reason for you to visit the website, review the faculty, and in your personal statement, identify one or more faculty who you think might be well aligned with your area of interest. You should also discuss how your PhD education will assist you in meeting your future and long-term goals. And if your research interest focuses primarily in a nursing education topic, please also talk a little bit about your clinical and practice research, or your clinical and practice background, and how there might be a research focus that might align with that as well. You will see that many of our UNLV School of Nursing faculty, their focus of research is a clinical or practice topic. So do take a look at that. And as always, be very mindful of your editing and your grammar, because not only are they reading the content and the substance, but the committee will be also reading for your ability to write. And that's a very, very important.
Excellent. So just kind of going back to that a little bit. So if you're, like Dr. Dingley said, it's okay if you're still kind of formulating what you want to research. Maybe you have 2 or 3 topics in mind. I recommend reaching out to her, and if you have any questions, it's definitely great to kind of narrow down what your research interests are. And you can also, like she said, navigate on our website and go to our contact page. And then we have a faculty selection where you can go ahead and click, and then it lists all of our faculty members. You can click on read more for any of them, and it'll give you an in-depth synopsis of what their research focuses have been or are. And so Dr. Dingley also talked a little bit about your statement of intent and the importance of grammar and spelling. And so that should also be displayed in your writing samples. You are required to submit 2 writing samples, formal papers done in your master's program, published manuscripts, a published letter to the editor. We don't really want to see so much any syllabus or syllabi that you've created in your professional work. We really want to be able to see your written work. And there's no page limit to or page length to what your writing samples have to be. We've seen 100+ pages for writing samples. We've seen 15 pages for your writing samples. You just want to make sure it's something that is of formal writing. And then for your letters of recommendation, we have some recommendations there for you as well. And again, making sure that you can get someone who can really speak to your ability to be in a doctoral program, and somebody who will really take the time to write a sound recommendation for you, because I can't tell you, there have been times where we see recommendations from supervisors, employers, and they say this person's great. They're always willing to help, and they like to go out hiking on the weekends, and that's great. But it doesn't tell us anything about that person's ability to be in this program. So that's really what we're looking for. About 24 hours or within 24 hours of submitting and paying for your application, you're going to get an invitation from Kira Talent inviting you to complete an interview. So all applicants have to do this. I do recommend checking your spam or your junk mail because sometimes this invitation ends up there. But you can always reach out to us as well if you haven't received it within 24 hours, and we can always send it back out to you. So there's going to be several questions that you have to answer, and you're going to have a limited time to answer them. So you definitely want to treat this like it's a real interview. You want to dress the part. You want to make sure that you have a neutral background. You want to make sure that you don't have any noise distractions so that you can go ahead and answer. When we say that you do have time to practice, it's more so to make sure that you can test out your camera and your audio capabilities, but you won't see the questions until you're ready to record your responses. And then you'll have about a minute or so to be able to respond to them. Whatever is captured during that recording is your response. There are no do-overs, so if you record nothing, that's an answer in itself, and that's what's submitted. If you're going overtime and you get cut off, that's your response too. So just try to be mindful of you should see a time bar at the bottom, and just try to answer within the time allotted. Okay, so once we have all applications, we begin reviewing them. We start gathering the application materials, the completed applications around the deadline. And then, like I said, applicants have until March 7th. So we really try to be able to deliver admissions decisions around April. What the committee will do is when they're reviewing applicants, they're also looking to see who they're inviting for a live interview. And that live interview is going to be usually over Google Hangouts. So we're not asking you to come to campus. But it's a chance for the committee to learn more about you and your research interests. So they're going to look at specifically your statement of intent, and they're going to ask you some additional questions. And from there, we move forward with making the admissions decision. We let the graduate college know who we want to offer admissions to. And then that's when you get that notification from grad college through Grad Rebel Gateway, which is the platform you submitted your application. And then through there, you have the opportunity to accept or decline your admissions. If at any time during the application process you have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out as many times as you need to. One thing I would recommend is making sure that your recommenders do actually submit your recommendations. You should be able to see that through your application if it's been completed or submitted or not. And they should have no issue with sending it through the system. So you shouldn't have to play the middle person in delivering it to us. And you'll likely start hearing from me probably sooner rather than later as applications are getting submitted. I let you know where you currently stand as far as documents submitted and what's still needed. And you will likely hear from me from this point on until March 7th. And that's when I start to get really annoying. So definitely keep track of your documents and what is needed to submit your application. You can submit your application without having all of the required materials. We don't penalize you for that. And it's encouraged because that's when we do start the communications with you. So if your recommenders haven't submitted their recommendations, it's okay. Still submit your application. If you don't have all of your transcripts, for the time being, it's okay. The grad college will likely review it and let you know it's incomplete. But again, you still have every opportunity to submit it up until the deadline. So don't let that hold you back. So you don't have to wait until every document, every material is in your application. But if you have any questions, any doubts along the way, you reach out to me and we'll take a look and see where you currently stand.
A little bit about our students, because oftentimes potential applicants want to know, well, what are our students doing? Our students do publish. In fact, we strongly encourage it, and one of our dissertation options is a 3-manuscript option. In addition, our students present, and we help facilitate that. So this is a picture of our students at the Western Institute of Nursing. Many of you may have heard of it, WIN, Annual Communicating Nursing Research Conference. And we do encourage it and try to provide support for our students to present. And you can see this is a pretty nice representation. These were all PhD students who were presenting at this particular conference.
And because I know it's always the pressing question about tuition, so I first wanted to go over how to conduct tuition estimates. And you'll likely want to have a copy of a plan of study. So if you want to reach out to me at any point and ask for, just let me know if you're looking for the 50 credit plan of study, if you're looking for the 62 credit plan of study, if you want both the full-time and part-time or just one, let me know, and then I'll send you instructions as well as how to conduct the tuition estimates. But the link is here at the top. And when you go to the website, you're going to see the first half of this box. And what you want to click on is advanced search options. When you click on the advanced search options, you're going to get this full box right here. And so you want to make sure you're changing your student type to graduate. Your total credits are the credits that you're trying to calculate. So if you're in the part-time plan of study, you're usually at an average of 6 credits a semester. So you want to change total credits to 6. You want to change your online credits to 6. And you want to change the nurse 500 to 700 option to 6 as well. So what this represents is our differential tuition that you can see in both samples here at the bottom, where it is $239.50 per credit. You want to make sure that you are selecting online credits, because if you're a resident of Nevada and you don't select it, then you're not going to see this $34 per credit populate, and so you'll likely get a lowball estimate. If you're a non-resident and you select that you are not a resident and you forget to put the online credits, you're going to see a significantly higher non-resident fee here, which is a fee that's applied to non-resident students who are coming to an on-campus program. So when you're an online student, because you're being charged that online fee, that non-resident fee ends up being significantly reduced. One thing you don't see in these estimates for the non-resident fee is that fee is per credit. So that would be $148.75 times however many credits you're taking. So it's not a flat fee. And the cost per credit when you're looking at fees is not a perfect cost per credit, because some fees are per credit, other fees are per semester. But on average, that's generally the cost per credit. So $752.75 for residents, or $901.50 for non-residents. So just to give you an idea right now overall of what you can expect to pay for the program, you see our resident fees per track is listed at $40,000, $32,000, or $29,000. These are all approximations that were calculated using the calculation tuition estimator, and then non-resident fees, you see that listed for each track as well.
Students also receive scholarships and funding. This is a question oftentimes that candidates ask. This is just an example. So I do want to start at the bottom. You may have heard of HRSA. They do provide a nurse faculty loan program, the NFLP, and we do have to apply for that. But every time we've applied, we have not been denied. So we've been very successful in getting NFLP for our students. And this is very specific for students who plan to become faculty after they graduate. We also have participated in the Jonas Nurse Scholars Program. And this program is a 2-year program. And ever since we've applied for it, we have been successful at having 3 of our doctoral students be funded through the Jonas Center. In addition, the National League of Nursing has an NLN Foundation for Nursing Education Scholarship. And we have had two of our PhD students be very successful. And this is a difficult and competitive scholarship. Typically, there's about 6 of them given out. NLN gives out 6 or so every year. And both of our students applied, and they both received it. So very successful, and something I would strongly encourage.
And so while we have the contact information here on the screen, I'll talk a little more about HRSA. And so you already heard Dr. Dingley mention that as an institution, as a School of Nursing, we do have to apply for it each year. We've been lucky and have not had any issues getting the funding each year. However, it's never guaranteed, and we typically don't know until the summertime if we're going to get funding or not. But when we do, we notify our PhD students, and then they have the opportunity to apply to it if they want to. Another nice thing that we usually get that is based upon availability is sometimes the grad college is able to provide a recruitment scholarship to us, and that's used to offer to our PhD students. And the amount that each PhD student can be awarded kind of varies upon how much the grad college is able to give us for that, and as well as how many students we're looking to offer admissions to. But that's also a nice little one-time scholarship that we can also add to that scholarship page.